young.
Going
Okay,
live.
all right. Thank you, Gabe. Appreciate the.
I almost said something and I was like,
Appreciate the the tone of urgency. Javier, shut your mouth.
That's something interesting for the podcast, but probably not a good idea.
We'd get so many
If we
listens.
could do blind,
So-
we could do
we
blind
would-
items.
Viral.
Oh, we should do blind items.
Blind items. Yeah, an idea. Who's like, there's a certain legislator.
Support for Wrong About Everything comes from Minnesota's credit unions. Credit unions are locally based, member-owned financial cooperatives that return earnings to members through higher savings rates, lower loan rates, and reduced fees. Visit mncun.org for more information.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Wrong About Everything podcast. I am GOP strategist and Twin City Sugar, Brian McDaniel.
I am former Republican Senate Majority Leader Amy Koch.
And I am Minneapolis culture enthusiast Allison Nessie.
I am Democratic strategist on the Puerto Rican Heat, Javier Morillo.
And we are
Wrong About Everything.
Wait, your title changed.
It changes every time.
Okay. What did you call yourself?
Spicy.
Minneapolis what?
A culture enthusiast, because I talk more about musical theater on this podcast, I feel like, than politics. So,
Oh, okay.
you know,
Well, that's what the people are here for.
so give the people what they want.
Musical theater.
Sure.
That would be your tradition.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
The homosexual on the podcast is going to put his foot down.
Are you now? Are you now?
Yes.
Anyway, welcome to the Minnesota Credit Union Network studios, deep within the recesses of MBC Studios here in Northeast Minneapolis. We have Gabe Noah, our producer, very capable, in the other room. We have a little bit of a camera issue today, which is why we have a little bit of a different configuration if you're watching us on the YouTube, which we hope you are. So please go to our YouTube channel and find us there. Before we kind of launch into, we did not have a show last week. We apologize for that. Amy was traveling and Javier was not feeling well, but he looks like you're on the mend.
Yes. I'm on the mend.
He is good. Oh.
I was suddenly horribly ill. But I got over it. You don't want to know why. You don't want to know how.
I got better.
I got better.
Well, you know what? We're all very happy for that. But before we kind of get into all of our stuff, we have a series of big announcements. And we're going to start. The name of this episode is Amy's Big News because Amy has big news. Amy, what is your big news?
Hey, everybody. I'm engaged. I'm getting married. Woo! Clint. I talked about Clint. Actually,
Wait,
Clint's
we have
been
a
on the
studio
couch
audience?
Since was here.
Do we have
a
a
number of times. What's that?
Do we have a studio audience?
Yeah, we should. So Clint's been in studio. Actually, he's probably been our studio audience more than a couple times. We're just excited. We're going to get married this year. We're getting married in October.
Woohoo.
I'm very excited. Very much in love. And there you go. I'm sorry, Brian. Too bad.
I mean,
it's my announcement, and I'm happy.
I'm happy for Clint, man. He looks he looks very happy, and I wish him the best.
What does that mean?
I don't.
He's just bagging on me.
I'm conflicted on her happiness.
Just happiness.
Yeah.
Sorry. What? I'm just happy.
Just happiness.
That's true.
Conflict,
That's true. Well,
conflicted
too
out.
bad. You can't crap on our parade. We're getting married.
Yeah.
We're excited.
And he's awesome.
And he's
we-
amazing.
Yes.
We actually do genuinely like Clint. We've spent a lot of time with Clint, and that's what our second big thing that's popping up. But we have spent a lot of time with Clint. We like Clint. Clint seems to be going into this with his eyes wide open.
I love Clint.
So.
You say that like she has a third eye somewhere.
Okay. Anyway, so I have been spending a lot of time with Clint.
And why is that?
Because
Announcement 2.
we have a new addition to the Momentum Advocacy team.
Not so much to the Momentum team.
They bought me.
They bought it.
Amy and I have bought a cabin.
We're lake people.
We're lake people now.
Javier.
You bought this together.
We did.
We did.
You co-own it.
So yes, we
So
bought.
so the corporation did not buy it.
No.
That's,
No.
That's,
No, we
your
don't have a
announcement was very
corporation.
confusing.
It's a partnership.
So I thought
It's a limited liability partnership.
yeah, it's an LLP.
Whatever. Sure.
So Javier would definitely want you to come up.
Sure.
Sometime, you know what, Javier? You have to come see the cabin.
You have
Sure.
to come see us.
Yeah. yeah.
So we're very excited to have you. come up and
Long-time
see the
listeners
cabin.
know that my beef with Minnesotans is that Minnesotans will say things like, you should come to the cabin sometime, and it won't be followed by an address or any specifics.
No,
The
but-
calendar invite. Basically, when a Minnesotan says you should come to the cabin, sometimes they are telling you they own a cabin.
Uh-huh.
That's all. It's just an announcement that they own a cabin.
We would love it. You should stop by the cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're excited
Sometime.
to have you.
Where just drive north?
Just yeah, we'll definitely we'll set something up.
If you drive north, it'll get you close. You'll no.
You know what?
Obviously,
Obviously, send the address to John Stiles.
If you're in the
It's
area,
ridiculous.
if you're in the area, we'll drop a pin
In the area of north.
up north,
Yeah.
somewhere between Coon Rapids and International Falls.
Okay. All right.
Clint's on his way there right now.
Yep.
He's got a lily pad in the truck.
Yeah.
A lily pad.
Yeah, it's one of those big floaty things that you put on the.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
I have
we have a lake. We have lakefront.
That's lovely for you. I have literal lily pads in my in my garden
in
now
your
because from a little pond. Yeah, you have a
lovely
lake.
water
I have a 400-gallon pond with
This is
frogs
a big
in it.
rolled up floating thing that
A pool or a pond. Pond would be good for you.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. I'm very happy for
Yes,
you.
we're very
I
excited.
can't wait for you to come.
Another. Sure.
We'll keep people updated on the situation.
Well, and just-
on
and
the-
Minnesotans, they won't invite you to their homes
And-
or to their second
and
homes,
just
which
to-
they call
and-
cabins.
And just to prove that we do have commitment to the bit, Amy and I, and frankly Allison as well, we've been working on this for over a year, and we haven't said a word to Javier about it. He's known for a very short period of time. Just for this, just for this.
just so you can prove you're Minnesotans.
No,
I'm
just
not-
committed to the bed. He's not a
I'm
Minnesotan.
not from Minnesota.
You've adopted their ways.
As they pertain to you. That is
Fine. I don't need your damn cabin.
Yep.
I'm going gay camping this weekend.
Are you going?
Oh,
What's gay camping?
what's gay camping?
It's like camping, but more fun.
Okay.
Better food and company.
Nice.
And it's in the middle of nowhere, Iowa. But
It's in Iowa.
Oh,
This time we're going to Iowa. We either go to Iowa or Wisconsin, but
Lovely.
lots of
way to support our.
Is it on the water? Is it on a river?
There isn't a. Oh no, wait. There is one up north. Maybe it's near your place. Who knows?
like a special,
I hope so.
gay place? Is that what you're
It's
saying?
a special. It's a place that is gay the weekend that we go,
Oh, okay.
and it's otherwise a nudist camp.
Oh, the Iowa one is?
No, the one in Minnesota.
Oh, I
Minnesota
can
is.
imagine an Iowegian.
Is it in climax?
Iowan.
Minnesota?
Iowan.
Iowegian.
Iowegian.
What'd you say, Brian?
Is it in Climax, Minnesota?
No, I don't believe so. It's where Tom Emmer didn't. What did Tom Emmer represent?
No.
there's
That's
a-
right
Buffalo?
County.
Oh no, not Tom Emmer. No, the other guy.
Stauber?
Stauber.
No. House member. Anyway,
Okay.
it's a conservative area.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, hey.
Great. Well, you've been to Maple Lake.
What?
You were in Maple Lake, and you came to my bar, which was the gay bar in Maple Lake.
Yes, Maple Lake was lovely. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
I met a giant, then I beat him in a game.
You did. You kicked his
Yeah,
butt.
game-
In a
a
box.
game
By the
of-
way,
a feat
in a
of strength.
boxing.
Yes.
In a boxing
Ooh.
game.
In a boxing game,
Wow.
I beat him.
He was like a squatch, too. He was a big
He was.
guy.
When we say he was a big guy.
Yeah. He's not exaggerating. He was a mountain of a man. Will
he was a
he be at the gay
Those were the
gay
days.
camping?
I do not know. No. Yeah, those were back in the days when I did kickboxing, but it's been a while.
Yeah, you crushed it.
Yeah.
I was like, stop with the kicking. I have
More big news?
I have-
can't take it anymore.
news that is bigger than getting a cabin.
No.
bigger than you getting engaged.
No. Okay. You might be playing that up.
According to Twitter on X, Julius Hernandez, Jennifer DeJarnett is out as MNGOP executive director.
Jeepers. This is not bigger than
Sources
you being
say the departure was sudden and unexpected. This is Julius. Republicans I have talked to say the constant drama took a toll. There's more relief than surprise about her exit. And I've been told some reasons why. I don't know that they're official, so I won't say them out loud. But
There was drama?
Whisper them in my ear.
Huh?
Whisper them in my ear.
What? Don't do this to our listeners.
This is not good for
Don't
a
do this to
listening
us.
medium.
This is some BS is what this is.
yeah, well, hey, you know what?
Javier whispered to Allison and then
That's like a Patreon thing, right? That's like a
that's-
special Patreon.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Join our
gotta
Patreon.
you gotta auction this information off.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's super
that's a
exciting.
fireable offense.
It's a new day. It's a new day for
That
the
sounds like a
MNGOP.
fireable offense.
But
It's
Can I
had a
just
lot
po-
of new
Can I
days.
just point out that guy Julius, who's the one with the Republican breaking news? This is the guy. This is a guy who pretends to be a Democrat in Minneapolis politics, and so people who continue to hire him. There's a reason why he has such great sources in the Republican Party. He's literally a Republican. He campaigned
you know what?
as one just a few
Rip on
years
him
ago.
next week because this week he brought me joy. he made me happy.
his biggest announcement yet.
Yeah. And you're probably like, why are you telling us? It's
And I'm
'cause
getting
telling
married.
everybody.
All right.
All right. Well, if anyone wants to sue me for my joy, they might want to contact our friends at Bradshaw and Bryant. Their entire team of attorneys and staff is dedicated to providing the legal advice you need, combined with the service and personal attention you deserve. If you have questions about how they can assist you with a personal injury, wrongful death, or criminal defense matter, do not hesitate to contact them. Consultations are free. Please contact them at 800-770-7008 or at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Well, we did not have a show last week, as I said earlier, and we had a little bit of fun. I wanted to make sure to put anything we were talking about that was good or fun or anything like that before this, because this is very serious and sad. But one of the things we were going to talk about last week was the lying in state of Mark and Melissa Hortman and their dog Gilbert. And that was something that happened on Friday of this week with the official funeral on a Saturday. I ended up having to be out of town, so I was unable to attend, and I was planning very much on going to the reveal, as I knew, Melissa Hortman was our friend and coworker, and known her before either of us were in politics. But Javier and Allison, you guys were able to take place. Everything I've heard was that it was just a very moving, touching event with people acting very appropriately, and with former President Biden and others in attendance. But would you guys just give your impressions of what you kind of experienced at the events, if you would?
Yeah, I haven't been on the show since the 14th, and I will say it was beautiful. The lying in state, their coffins were gorgeous. They were surrounded by trees. They had a beautiful tribute to Gilbert. But it was really hard, and it made it real, and that was. It was kind of I think for the first time, it hit me that it was real, and I'm having a hard time talking about it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's exactly the feeling that I had of it, just feeling very, very real, and it felt then, and it feels today like. This, a lot of what the feelings one has are cliche, but they're cliche because they're deep human emotions. But you just can't believe that the world has moved on. Yeah. You just can't believe that. I don't feel like this country react has taken in.
I agree.
Yeah.
In the first few days, it was everywhere,
Yeah.
right? It was national. And I thought, okay, this is going to change things.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I think if you asked anyone else not in Minnesota,
Yeah.
they
It's
they
like
they wouldn't remember. They'd be like, oh, right. No,
there
that
was
sad.
there was a political assassination
Right.
in the United States of America. For the first time in almost 50 years. And there has been other violence, but this is the first time an assassination was completed, was done, and that is, see, I fear it's a marker that we will look back on, because just like we over the last few years, there are all these moments that where a new line has been crossed, and the feeling I've always had is, right, you can't, once these things are uncorked, they can't be put, it can't be put back in the bottle, and it's the to me it's the combination of, I think, people not really getting the import of what happened, and then the continued lack of empathy
Yes.
is just like, it's just so gross and so like, and of course, social media, amplifies the worst voices and gives us a platform to the worst people, and in a lot of cases, just probably bots just looking to get people upset.
Yes.
But whatever it is, just the fact that one cannot read about these assassinations without immediately coming up with conspiracy theories or whatever, or just
Right.
whatever. Like it's, and Melissa and Mark Hortman were people. They were important people. They lived good lives, and Melissa was taken from us. And I just, that's just the feeling.
That's how I felt too. I really felt like, oh, things have got to change now. Things have got to be different. People have to sort of wake up and open their eyes, and politicians should open their eyes and understand that the heat and the rhetoric has to come down. Like their very lives depend on it, and just seems not. And again, I will say this: different here. I feel like it's largely been different in Minnesota on both sides of the aisle.
From actual electeds, not the Twitter trolls and pundits. No,
The trolls.
but I have been heartened by there were a bunch of House GOP members at the event and at the funeral. I mean, almost probably all of the
Yep.
caucus.
Republican congressional delegation.
Yeah, and the whole
Rightfully so.
yeah,
Rightfully so.
rightfully
Yeah,
so.
they're not heroes for doing
No.
that. That's
No.
what should
And
happen.
the fact that I'm heartened is disappointing. I also do want to acknowledge that the House DFL members of the caucus stayed the entire time that folks were at the Capitol and hugging and greeting everybody, and it was really, really nice. Along with the Golden Retriever Honor Guard, which was an idea from a friend of mine who was helpful in that and set that up, which
that was really sweet.
really, really sweet. So it was beautiful, and it was worthy of her greatness. It's such a, it's unfathomable. I've known her since I was 15, and there are no words. And the lack of empathy, the dehumanization immediately. I mean, she's a mom. She is such a person outside of just being the speaker. Has been. I've just tried to ignore that, but it exists.
She's a real person, and for people like we have clients that are from out of state, and largely when we have Zooms with clients from out of state, almost every one of them, the first thing they say is, "How are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
They're kind of in the political world. They know that we're here. I believe there's only one or two that kind of like forgot about it and kind of said, "Hey, how was your weekend?" Stuff like that, because they live elsewhere, and this isn't something that is just inescapable the way it is from us. But if you are listening to us from somewhere else, thank you for thinking of us. I mean, obviously we are impacted by this, not nearly to the degree that some are, but every one of us here on the panel here, we've all been in Melissa and Mark Hortman's home. I've probably been there a dozen times over the years, and like I said, she and I had a legal case together before we were ever in politics. So she wasn't just Speaker Hortman to almost all of us. She was a person who was just in our lives. She was a friend, a coworker, all of those things. And for anyone who forgets that the politician that you don't agree with in our state or on the national level or in the next state over, they have friends and neighbors and children and pets and all that. They're real people, and when you sign up to be in politics, you agree to be in the public eye a little bit, and that is, of course, going to make you a product or a character or something. But every one of these elected officials is a human being, and no one should be treated as a throwaway pawn in a stupid, pathetic political game.
Can I have a little rant about something? The Star Tribune had multiple reporters work on this very long story that was about the assassin and the assassin's spouse. And I cannot for the life of me understand why they wasted the ink in painting this story in pastels about how they fell in love, quoting Neighbors about what a good guy he is.
Yeah.
Well, why do I need to hear from that neighbor who's apparently is just a terrible and a terrible judge of character? I don't like. I do not care, and you all should be embarrassed. Like you're contributing to lionizing an assassin whose name should be forgotten. It's so damn gross. And just she hired a PR firm, which is in the story, and
she being the wife.
The wife, and the story now is that she was cooperating fully, even though she was an hour from her home, heading
with cash and guns,
heading
and
north,
passports in her car,
heading north,
right,
and that's just. Now that's written away as like she was cooperative.
He sent that said Dad went to war, which they clearly knew meant something.
I just, the lack of skepticism from our media about that snow job. Oh my God. Can we at least question? Can we at least question? And I don't need to fucking know how they fell in love. I don't care. I do not care. The dude's a monster.
Can we give a shout out to the Reformer, who I think did the best piece on acknowledging or kind of just reflecting on Melissa's life and impact? That's the other thing. She was a legislative elections genius. I mean, the reason that she knew elections, she had her binder, her 3-ring binder with every district and outcomes over the last 6 cycles and the population growth within each district. And she would sit and she would go through with us. I mean, and I don't know. And Mark Hortman essentially created the van. I mean, when she ran the first 2 times unsuccessfully, he's a software developer. They tracked all of their voter engagement and interactions, which is now the reason why the DFL has been so successful in Minnesota. These two are integral into the party and politics and the success that we've been able to have at the state legislature. And that's what we want to focus on.
Yep. Well, and one thing too that I think, even though I can't claim to have known Mark anywhere near as well as I knew Melissa. I think that one thing the media and others have done well is they haven't let him get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his kids, their kids have been very insistent.
Yes, and I think that has been something that I've noticed, at least, that there was an effort to not just say it was Melissa Hortman and her husband. They've given Mark his own due. They have highlighted, as Allison just did, his own successes, his own life, and also their children. Who, when Melissa and I had our legal case together, their daughter was toddler, was very young, and now she's a grown person. And
Teacher.
There has been some good news. Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette released a statement. So Senator John Hoffman was the other, and his wife were the other victims. They were actually the first victims, the first home that he went to. Both of them, I believe, Senator was shot 9 times as he tried to push the assassin out the door, as well as his wife. And it was their daughter Hope, who happened to be home and called 911 quickly, despite the horror that she had just witnessed, that certainly saved lives, because we know then that police were deployed to all elected officials' homes and thwarted him at least one home, and maybe others.
Yeah.
So we did get actually President Biden stopped by the hospital.
So just on that last point, that morning they'd said that when they were at Hoffman's house, that it was good thinking on the police's part to someone thought, oh, we should go to Hortman's house, but there was actually 90 minutes between that, and when they arrived, he was at the front door.
Right, because he'd gone to 2 other spots before that. There was a delay, and I don't understand. I don't understand.
I hope there's just a top to bottom review of everything.
There absolutely
because he was certainly
there is.
Yeah.
Because her home was certainly the closest home to him.
Right.
And we know from one of the other homes, I believe Senator Ann Rest, where law enforcement showed up and he was there and thought he was the enforcement officer thought that he was a cop that had somehow also gotten there, and he stared ahead and didn't talk to her, and then she stayed, and that was and then he left. And so the timing, I agree. But it appears, it seems that Yvette is home. We're not getting a lot of information, which is fine.
There were pictures of Senator Hoffman with
President Biden and Yvette, and so and we're to understand that he is recovering, and thank God. I don't even know how. I don't know how. Miracle.
He took 9 bullets and she 6.
8.
Oh my
miracle.
God!
A miracle! A miracle! And so
she wrote. I saw a social media post of hers saying that the guy had lined them up.
Yes,
including their daughter. I just. Ugh.
So Hope Hoffman released a really long statement today on her Instagram. She runs an account called Disrupt, which is around unionizing the disability community, and it's really good. And I encourage everybody to read that. Yep.
All right. So again, keep praying for the Hoffman family, and we're grateful for some good news there.
Let's go out to a little bit of national news as well. I think, and Allison, you are a former resident of the city of New York. You worked for the city of New York, and you've also worked for the city of Minneapolis. I put down about, obviously some of this was from 2 weeks ago, but, in New York, the Democratic Socialist Mondami was able to, move along in the Democratic primary for mayor over Andrew Cuomo, which we had been hearing about that prior to it, but it came as a little bit of a surprise. Now, New York is New York, but what are the tales on that for cities like Minneapolis, who have kind of a little bit of a thriving Democratic Socialist contingency? Is this a New York thing, or do you think that this is a trend?
I hope it's a trend of people running really good campaigns rooted in things that people care about. Zoran's campaign was excellent. I mean, and that it could be replicated, but and also Cuomo couldn't be less palatable. I mean, I talked to a bunch of my friends in the city who, frankly, most of the people I talked to weren't sure who they were going to vote for until they were in the booth, because they were so kind of feeling like I don't have anyone I feel strongly about. So was it an anti-Cuomo vote more than Mondami? Maybe. I don't know. But he ran one of the best campaigns. He talked to people in a way that Trump talks to people, frankly. He went out there and he said, what do you care about? What do you like? And it was the cost. It's the cost of living. Things are too expensive. Rent, food, childcare, everything. And he focused his campaign around the challenges that people are facing in their daily lives. And that wins, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he won handily. Is the thing. He won when the total votes. He actually would have won even without ranked choice voting. But the fact that it was a ranked choice primary, I think, had a lot to do with how it's one of the things that has been frustrating for me in Minneapolis and St. Paul. We've now had ranked choice voting for a long time, but people still campaign as if we didn't, or endorsing organizations for the most part endorse as if it were first past the post. And what you saw in New York instead was candidates cross-endorsing each other.
Yeah, I interned in Brad Lander's office actually when he was on the New York City Council. He's great, and he's the current comptroller of the city, and they cross-endorsed each other. Right. Lander was able to bring his faction over to Mondami, and it truly they ran campaigns in a way where they had a common enemy too. I don't think people understand. It's not the sexual, well, obviously it's the sexual harassment of Cuomo, but the lying during COVID about the elderly deaths. Yeah. I don't think people understand how disgusted people were with that, because their streets were lined with ambulances and bodies, and it was horrible. And he lied about it. And that you can't, that, I think, was the biggest thing.
He lied about it while pushing a story about himself that we fell for.
We all fell for it. We're oh my God.
Well, because we had the president at the time talking about putting bleach in your veins, and it was the Cuomo sexual.
Our Italian daddy was taking care of everything.
But I think also there was such cynicism when you to give one example, Kristen Gillibrand, who was the person who pushed hardest for Al Franken to resign.
Yes.
Endorsed Cuomo. The number of people who called on him to resign, who then later endorsed him. I think it just the stench of old politics and of cynical politics. One of the things that's been frustrating about the analysis after is that there's a very typical thing that Democrats do, and that the punditocracy does when it comes to Democrats, but Democrats do to themselves, which becomes this big debate about is he going to be a liability to because he's a socialist and blah blah and all that and all this. What you said, Allison, right? That he won because he ran a fantastic campaign that spoke to the affordability and the issues that people wanted to listen to hear about, and he put together a broad coalition. I mean, his social media presence was phenomenal. His ads in Spanish, he himself speaks fantastic Spanish, were just astounding, really just quality stuff. And he put together this amazing coalition. There's this very stupid way of it was will it hurt or will it help elsewhere? New York is New York. It might help Democrats if they took the lesson that they should be bold in their ideas, that they should speak to what people want to hear, and to maybe not rely on the gerontocracy for everything. And so I think but to your question, Brian, I think there's this very facile interpretation by some in Minneapolis that a Democratic Socialist won in New York, therefore a Democratic Socialist won and it can win in Minneapolis. Maybe if he puts together a good campaign. I haven't seen one, and I'm not saying it might not happen.
And the Cuomo factor. How can you ignore the Cuomo factor? Like
You can't.
you can't, right?
No.
Well, and to that point, and this is something I don't understand. Did Cuomo also kind of set himself up to be a potential third party? I don't really understand
I
that
think
part of it.
they're figuring. I mean,
he's been coy, right?
he hasn't decided what he's going to do. I mean, like, I'll be honest, Eric Adams has a chance to win again because of like in the general election. He really does. If Cuomo enters the race, that lessens Eric Adams' chance. And would help Mondami actually.
Right.
So
because the general is not ranked choice. That's
Okay,
so
that
then-
is not. Okay,
then-
that's a
then
good
they would
important
split
point
the
that
vote,
I didn't
yeah.
understand.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
All right.
Yeah, and the other thing that's happened that's been such the meltdown over is over his position on Israel and Palestine, and the very facile equation of that. One cannot support Palestinians without being called anti-Semitic, and the thing in particular that people point to is that he did not in an interview reject the term globalized intifada. And what he correctly has referenced, is that intifada, that the word means struggle. In fact, it is the accepted translation of struggle, so accepted that the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. translated the Warsaw Uprising as intifada in the Arabic translation. And that only changed after October 7th. So his answer, which if anything was probably too nuanced, but the idea that one cannot have a position critical of Israel without being called anti-Semitic, that equating Judaism to the state of Israel, to one's position on Israel, is itself an anti-Semitic trope. So there were millions of dollars spent in portraying him as evil, where they darkened his beer and all this, and the flat out racist attacks on him. Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted a photo of the Statue of Liberty in a burqa, and she says this one hits hard. Like, what are you talking about?
it's like hit him where it matters. Like, half the things he's proposed, he cannot do without the governor. You cannot raise these taxes without state legislative approval. Just like the cities are creatures of the state in Minnesota, the city of New York is a creature of the state. And a lot of the things of his agenda, he cannot do without the state legislature. So let's question that, but not. Yeah, they lengthened his beard. They didn't just darken it; they lengthened it too. It's like,
and to that point, I mean, when you look into his record, from if you're center right, whatever you are, there is more than enough real stuff that you can go after this guy on in an intelligent, impactful way. You don't need to resort to fibs, half-truths,
AI generation
stuff, because one, you're just confusing your own idiots. I mean, Marjorie Taylor, if you do it to be funny, Marjorie Taylor Greene's going to think it's real, and then she's going to post it, and then it hurts the whole movement, and there's no reason for that. And I guess it's going to continue to happen because there are people that make money off of manufacturing the outrage this way.
I mean, one of my we have a friend in New York who sent us all these, because not all the ads did that. Some of a lot of the hit pieces, the mail pieces, had were comparative pieces, because depending on what kind of money it pays for it, it's this candidate good, this candidate bad. But they had pictures pictures of Cuomo and Mamdani, and Mamdani's a very handsome guy, and so my friend was like, there are so many pictures of Mamdani in our mailboxes, and she's like, there are a lot of elderly people in my building who are all they're going to see is the picture, and like what you see is a young handsome guy up against the old troll
who they're pissed at for lying about their friends dying.
Right.
Yeah. No, very handsome, amazing campaign, focused on the issues. He went and he talked to Trump voters in the Bronx more than he talked to people who he knew he had their support. And that,
Well, and,
Shocking.
I'm sorry, Amy, you were going to say something.
No.
Oh, well, and well, obviously, I don't agree with the politics of my friends here to my right at the table here, nor Mamdani. Mamdani? I'm an idiot, can't even say his name right. But I forgot how I point.
I don't know.
I'm sure it was great.
I'm sure it was
super good point, though.
It was a great.
You look at me
Actually, I'm
like,
sure it was terrible.
Nailed it.
nailed it. It's just great.
Anyway, let's go to plugs.
Wait, you guys,
What?
What?
we have 2 new
Ooh,
patrons.
Where's that applause? Where's the studio audience?
Yes.
Yay!
Yes, thank you.
there it is.
So many big announcements.
Yes. Monica Vogel and Lydia Vilt are
Hi.
the newest
Hi,
members
ladies. Thank
of
you.
the Wrong About Everything Patreon club. We are so grateful to Monica and Lydia and to all of our supporters.
We saw Lou Dickmeyer today, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Celebrity sighting.
She's
Patreon supporter. Lou Dickmeyer.
she's one of our best, not dicks. Louise Dickmeyer. Thank you all for not being a dick. And why do I say that? Because I'm a little abusive, and the way I'm abusive
It's just the way
really
Minnesotans
just
like it.
just works. For some reason, the only times we get new people on our Patreon is when I remind y'all that if you can afford it, only if you can afford it, does this apply to you? If you can afford it, and you listen to this show regularly, and I know many at the Capitol do, right? And if you can afford it, and you're not throwing a few bucks at us so that we can pay our production costs, you're kind of being a dick. So don't be a dick.
No, you don't want to be a dick.
Patreon.com/wrongaboutEverything podcast. Please join Monica and Lydia in supporting our little show here. So thank you them.
Yeah, nice.
Plugs, Amy.
No, you know what? I have nothing to plug this
That was
week. I mean, Brian,
that was squeaky right there.
No, Brian and I catch us Tuesday on the BS podcast. Hey. Oh.
I have nothing immediate to plug myself.
Allison.
Nothing. Just America's birthday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And my dad's birthday.
And
My dad's
and,
birthday.
yeah.
and my mom's birthday.
Tomorrow or 4th of July?
4th of July. is my
Okay, so
mom's
dad's
birthday.
the 3rd. He's going to be 81. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, my mom was born in 48, so whatever the math is on that,
77?
if you say so.
Okay.
I'll trust you on that. I also will be on At Issue with Tom Hauser this Sunday at 10 o'clock on KSTP, and that's the only thing I have going, but certainly want to make sure that we're wishing everybody a happy and safe 4th of July.
Yeah.
Everyone's invited to the cabin,
Yep.
except you're
I'm going to.
Whoever's invited, come on up. Everyone,
invited.
come on up.
He's invited, I guess.
I've heard the invitation.
Yeah. Allison,
What?
Do you know where it is?
I thought you were going to say.
Oh, I was just going to let everybody know that I'm going to go see Beyonce, and there will be a fireworks show for something else.
Cowboy Carter.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Let's go to Spanks and Thanks. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. My thank and my spank are both related to the topic. We started with Melissa and Mark Hortman, and my thank. I just wanted to speak especially to progressives and to those, and especially those who maybe listen from outside of Minnesota, because I would like for more people to understand what was taken from us when Melissa Hortman was taken from us. In 2014, we had a trifecta here in Minnesota, and it was a Democratic trifecta that was so concerned with keeping the trifecta and being timid and thinking that overreach, people will punish us for overreach, that they were timid, and we were so timid that we had to go to complete war with the Senate Democrats to raise the minimum wage and index to inflation. And so when we won the trifecta in 22, Melissa Hortman took a different approach, and our leaders generally took a different approach. And hers was summarized in what became a T-shirt, LFG. Let's fucking go, is what she said.
Yes,
she
she
said
did.
we're going to do the most good for the most amount of people while we have the power to do it. And Democrats, doesn't that sound amazing? And doesn't it sound amazing because it's so damn rare that we don't see Democrats do what Republicans do when they are in charge? Look at the crazy ass bill that was just passed in Congress, and the impact, the way it's going to hurt millions and millions of people are going to be kicked off healthcare, but they did it because they're taking advantage of the fact that they have the levers of power. But what Melissa Hortman did was, from my perspective as an organizer, was that those legislative victories, and it's a long, long list from paid family medical leave to abortion rights codified at 100% clean energy. The list goes on and on. Please look it up because it is a very, very long list of legislative accomplishments. And for many of those, there were communities and community groups who had been pushing for those for a long time. And what Melissa did was work with community and strategize with community. In progressive circles, we talk about co-governance, and all it means is just having relationships with elected officials and mutually beneficial relationships. And she exemplified respect for the Democratic base, respect for voters, respect for communities in working to pass all of these. And that's in addition to our friend being taken from us, this incredible strategist, this incredible leader, and master of the legislative process. That's what was taken from us. Thank you, Melissa. And my spank, I talked about this a little in the episode, but this one I went to the funeral, and after I can't stop thinking about what lessons did the next assassin learn in these past 2 weeks. Because we know the current assassin, he's lived in a time when polarization has gotten so insane and violence has been so minimized that people could violently attack the Capitol. And he learned that the president would pardon those people, even though they were violent and hurt police officers and were hunting elected officials. That's what he learned. But what did the next assassin learn? What did the person who's drowning in himself in a media ecosystem where he only hears people he agrees with, and that media ecosystem spent that weekend when we were all in Minnesota terrified, because this assassin was still on the loose, they were doing everything they can to deflect attention from who he was or what his motivation might be. The next assassin learned that a U.S. senator would mock our dead and not apologize for it. That the president of the United States would not only not come to the funeral of the first political assassination, the person assassinated, but he took it as an opportunity to mock our governor. I think about that because I've been terrified about the future of this country, the direction it's going, and I fear that there are more people out there like this monster and how the country has reacted in the last 2 weeks. Not all of us, but enough of us, and enough people, and enough media, and enough influencers and the such have encouraged the next assassin, and that's a terrifying thought.
Who's next?
Allison? I'm gonna go.
Yes, I am gonna do a bit of a 180. My thank is usually my spank, but my thank this week is to Catherine Elizabeth Hudson, aka Katy Perry, who decided to jointly announce their split from their 10-year, I don't know if they were married, but with Orlando Bloom, which kind of took some of the air out of the Bezos-Sanchez wedding, because it was the headline instead of that for a few days, and I kind of loved it. So thank you, Katy Perry. Sorry for the deterioration of your relationship. But
Is it because she's an astronaut?
I think, from what I read, Orlando Bloom did not appreciate the astronaut shtick and trip to space. But I
Well,
believe
he was a pirate, so.
and an elf.
And an elf.
Yeah, he was.
So
Yes, he was.
that I appreciated that, because then my spank is obviously to the Bezos Sanchez wedding, the $50 million wedding, and all that money, and you still can't buy taste. Those were the most ugliest clothes. Like, all of that money, and you can't.
They shut down Venice, right?
They shut down Venice. They were flooding buildings because of all the yachts, super yachts that were driving through. The people of Venice were not happy with the situation, but they from the CVS carpeting that they had on the aisle to her, I can't. And it was just a display of extreme wealth, and why is Sydney Sweeney, all of these celebrities going that I clearly have no, you're not friends with Sydney Sweeney. Why are you there? Why are the Kardashians there? Anyways, that's my spank. It was gross. I watched every second of it, which is the problem.
Was the wedding itself televised?
No. They just the photos afterwards.
all the photos.
Yeah.
So damn gross. It's
And
just
what
the
is
oligarchy
Lauren
of it.
Sanchez's deal?
She has a lot of filler in her lips.
She got a new face.
Quite obviously, yes.
What do you mean?
Where do we know her from? Or what is she supposed to be?
Entertainment Tonight. She was like a TV pundit, and then
that was
and I had a friend who interned there, and she would always say, "Don't." She'd be like, you can have water for lunch. So, super healthy lady. But so she and Jeff Bezos were having affairs, had an extramarital affair with each other. And then 7 years ago, and now they walk down the aisle together. But she got a lot of upgrades in both her ring, which was like a $2.5 million rock, and then a new face. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. My spanks, I'll keep it really very short. My spank is for Congresswoman Nancy Mace. She showed up this morning to vote for the big, beautiful bill. But she made this whole production of coming to town to vote in her PJs. And this was not like she was caught, like she showed up at her home or her hotel or her office in her PJs and somebody snapped a picture. She shot seemingly hours of video of her she was going to show up to vote for the bill, and she was in her pajamas. I don't get it. I don't understand the shtick. I guess it was like, I'm so hardworking, I'm going to drive up. She did like a road trip north in her PJs, and
What?
Yes,
She's
we
like,
go
her
to
flight got
Twitter, it
delayed,
was-
so she got a luxury Sprinter van
Right,
in her
right.
PJs,
It wasn't-
and
it
it's
wasn't-
like,
yeah, she's
okay.
pretending like she's suffering to get to DC, I guess, because there was, because some of them were struggling to get there because of the storms. Right. So she got this like Sprinter van with like all and brought her dog. It was
She cray.
ridiculous. She's actually not okay.
No.
I'm very worried about Nancy Mace.
she's not
And in this
okay.
case, look, I just pink pajamas. It was a very weird stunt, very strange. And again, it wasn't like she was caught on this. She videoed the whole thing thinking it was cool. Spanked. And I will just say a thank and a shout out to my dad, whose birthday is July 3rd. Dad is an amazing human being and an incredible father. And I'm always very grateful for him. And his birthday is his big day. We would usually do a 2-day celebration, and he always insisted we end it in fireworks. Or maybe that was just the holiday. I'm unclear. But either way, it was it's a great way to celebrate a great man. And thanks, Dad, for everything you've done.
All right, I will go quick. My spank is going to be to Wilson Tindy, who is a Kenyan who came to the United States in 2005 on a tourist visa. He overstayed that tourist visa. He had his application for permanent residency denied in 2007. He was ordered to be removed by an immigration judge in 2009. He did become a permanent resident in 2014, in April of 2014. In December of 2014, he was arrested for felony burglary and felony criminal sexual conduct. In February of 2016, he was convicted on felony sexual conduct with a plea deal. A 2-year prison sentence was stayed, and he served 135 days in a county workhouse. He registered as a sex offender and was put on 5 years probation. In August of 2016, he was taken into custody by the feds. He was ordered removed again in 2017. In 2018, he was
because his status was removed as a result of his crimes.
He was released from ICE custody in February of 2018. In February of 2018 again, his appeal of his state conviction was denied. Just jumping ahead. So what we have found,
it's a bad dude. And what we have found is that on his LinkedIn bio, he listed himself as the chief audit officer at the Department of Education here in Minnesota. Not the Minnesota Department of Education.
Which has had a problem. And what I kind of don't want to point out is, okay, well, MDE, we all know, feeding our future, all the other stuff, there's all kinds of oversight issues there. What I'm angry about is there is a very definable paper trail here. People were put in danger being around this guy who is a sexual predator, and he not only was allowed to stay in the country, he was allowed to be hired by the state of Minnesota, put into a position of authority over people, and he was not removed from his position until there was going to be an article about it in the paper, and I find that reprehensible. There are laws that are on the books to protect people, and those laws were not followed. People were put in danger, and it's embarrassing. And so he and those who allowed him to be part of our state government are spanked. I am doing a little bit of a switch on a second spank because I just kind of found this while we were doing it. But if you recall from this show and hopefully from your perusal of actual news, that at the beginning of June there was a Molotov cocktail attack on people who were doing a peaceful demonstration in Boulder, Colorado, and there's lots of talk about anti-Semitism and all the different forms that it takes, but I wanted to make sure that we didn't lose that real people lost their lives. And this week we found out that Karen Diamond, who was attacked in that attack in Boulder on June 1st, that she did succumb to her injuries and died. We have people that were shot down outside of a party in Washington D.C. because they worked for the Israeli embassy. This is something, and throw on top of this what happened with the firefighters in Coeur d'Alene Idaho, where they were lured to a fire and murdered. We don't know all the reasons, but by somebody who wanted to be a firefighter. Everything that we have said here today, Javier, Allison, Amy, people have lost their goddamn minds, and YouTube and Twitter and Blue Sky and all these other things are making heroes of a lot of bad people doing a lot of bad things, who are finding this to be their way to be relevant and important. And it is disgustingly sad. And everything Javier said about what are people learning about, what are the next people learning? They're learning they're going to get their face on TV. They're learning that they're going to get articles about them in the news. And when they have nothing else to lose, they're going to do this as their last act, and they're going to text their family and say, Dad went to war. No, Dad was a coward. The guy who threw the Molotov cocktail was a coward. The guy who shot the people in D.C. was a coward. The guy who shot the firefighters in Idaho was a coward. The guy who shot at President Trump was a coward. And all of these people should not be celebrated. They should not be given oxygen. They should be lost to history after being thrown in jail or killed. So have a happy and safe 4th of July with all of that. Emphasis on the safe. And with that, I am Republican strategist and GOP. I'm GOP strategist and Twin City Sugar, Brian McDaniel.
I am new fiance, Amy Koch.
I am cultural correspondent Allison Nessie.
I am Democratic strategist in the Puerto Rican heat, Javier Morillo.
And we are
Wrong
about everything.
We have a fiance and a Beyonce.
Yes.
So
Say hi to her.